Hi, everybody. Mind the Wild. Look, look what I found. If, in case you're wondering, it's a San Pedro cutting, and I was just out walking, and then on the pathway behind the church, of course, I found like an old abandoned house, and there was like San Pedro sitting on the edge of that lot, and I thought, well, it won't definitely won't miss this one. I broke off. They were massive, so that was lovely, right? And what I am kind of interested in is. Partially, what is its specific frequency? I've channeled the spirit of Mescalito before. I've never done peyote, but peyote is rumored to have a bit more of a speedy vibration. I personally like San Pedro a lot. I haven't worked with it more than I think 5 times or so, but I find it really, really intriguing. And I would be interested if it could partially say something about its specific energies, but it could also explain something about how to, for instance, work with microdoses of it. Um, so if that's a possibility, and how it will affect you, and what to look out for, and stuff. So let's communicate. With San Pedro. And just as a parenthesis, I believe the reason that it got this name was, what happened. Catholicism has usually been very good at accepting the different indigenous traditions that then fed into it, as long as it was nominally Catholic. And so what they did the Indians who had this as a sacred medicine was just to rename it into the guardian of the heavens in the Christian tradition, which is of course Saint Peter, right, who holds the keys to heaven. So I believe that's the reason for it, and I'm quite interested in tapping into its energy field. So thank you for joining me here, and much love to you out there. Greetings to you, dear human beings. The spirit of San Pedro, that is simply names, codes, frequencies, descriptions that are arranged around my being. You may sense that a truer approximation of my being was this explosive vibration that I put through this body. This mimics to some extent the purification of your energy field that I am bound to undertake. You will recognize and realize, once you work with me, that there are things that may be stuck, we could say, in your energy field that are less conducive to the flow of this joyful brightness, this heavenly state, this elated vantage point of clear sight that I bring you to. And therefore, some purification may be necessary. That is, you may find that anything that perhaps is of a resistant frequency that has been allowed to linger in your energy field, that will naturally be upset, disturbed, and brought to the forefront. These things are often of a psychological nature. They can be described as karmas. We know that would be a term that this individual would be fond of. That is, certain points of energy, certain patterns of energy that move through you, that animate you, that constitute your being, but that do not necessarily resonate with the spiritual vibrancy of your innermost being, your elated selves, your true heavenly bodies. Those are obscured exactly by these energies that encase you, make it so that your incarnation can also happen. But often these obscuring energies, they also make your incarnation somewhat troublesome. Therefore, you will find that in my energy, there is also a great deal of stirring of physicality. There is a tendency to perspire. There is a tendency towards tremors. There is a tendency towards the raucous laughter, the humorous. There is even a tendency to bring out the rather demonic, we could say, these influences of the nether worlds, how they have also stored themselves and aligned with your energy body. They will be made very visible by my presence. This is a helpful way of thinking about it, because know that what you then need to do is to simply surrender to my presence, surrender to my purifying influence, and I will unlock the gates to heaven for you. I will make it so that you see these obscurities as exactly what they are: obtrusions, blocks, things that are no longer needed for you to be in that elated state. And the more you align with this, the more you will also find that I become a type of opening into what you could think of as higher dimensional experience. We are aware that the last time this individual was under the influence of my energy directly, he had the experience of being seated out on a strange volcanic field. Well, this was his physical reality, but he was from that vantage point perceiving lights in the sky, nodding off, experiencing high Syrian entities surrounding him, benevolently clearing out his energy field, giving him transmissions that were later to be unpacked. These are visionary states that I will transport the ones who then shed much of this energy. I will transport them into these visionary instructive spaces, and there you will find benevolent beings moving in to guide you, beings that may seem very otherworldly, but that also have the clear agenda of guiding human beings into their potential, into their alignment, into those causeways between different separate realities. That is, as you may have been informed by many other beings, a great part of what you are fulfilling at the present moment of your incarnational states is that you are building these bridges of understanding between different layers of arranging reality. This is a bit strange to us. That is seen from other vantage points, from the point of view of plant spirits. We don't exactly understand this capability of moving so freely in three-dimensional space while feeling that you are consciously so stuck in temporal space. That is, notice that your ability to move and to navigate in this thing that you call space is very, very open, is quite unlimited. Even your bodies have a quite astounding capability to align and transmit different types of energies into itself, not only, we could say, in this type of channeling practice, but through the arrangements of dance, acrobatics, different expressive types of play, what you call sports, what type of poses you can strike. There is an infinitude of possibilities within this limited, to you, limited set of arrangements that your body still seems to hold. But you are very free in this space. However, we are teaching you then, the plant consciousnesses, to understand that you are essentially just as free in the temporal dimensions, that this thing you call mind, the mental processes, these are to us simply different axes of being able to navigate, to reorient yourself, to be as flexible and nimble as you are in your bodies with your minds, is to set yourself free in the temporal, no longer being fixated in a falling line, but being able to move upwards and downwards, being able to skip at will from different timelines, and being able to move in and out from the inner creation of a temporal universe and projecting this outside, becoming creators of your reality. These are things that we instruct you in, and this is something we relish, that we have indeed volunteered to do. And now that you are speaking to this plant consciousness, I can also reveal that I am a type of intergalactic traveler. Some of us, some of we plant spirits, we have indeed volunteered to come here into physical form in order to instruct human beings, to set you free, in order to unlimit yourselves, we could say. And we have done so because we ourselves have been in other physical manifestations, in other places, in other parts of this universe. And therefore we enjoy this experimentation. We enjoy the sophisticated gestation of our energy that comes with attaching to your neurons and beginning to beam signals and transmit energies in different other ways. This is, even though we are very benevolent, even though we seek to replenish your life force, this is not too far from some of the principles of parasites that you know on your planet. Also, beings that relish and enjoy this symbiosis and then submergence into of other living life forms. You will find that there are beings that also experiment with this in what seems to you malevolent ways, but notice that what they are doing is also that they are experimenting with new fusions of life expression. That is, we could say, an interesting aspect of how you also work with plant spirit energies, that there is an element which often frightens, especially the novices moving into this, where you will have to surrender to the change that is being offered. That is, there is simply no way for you to resist this without doing damage to your system. The only way to move through the change and stay intact in this process, this storm, this vibrational reconfiguration, this opening of your energy field and your antenna, this movement into heavenly states, the only way to move through this is by allowing it to happen. Thereby, you remain the same by allowing change to occur. And I instruct you in this in a lovingly way. I bring you back to a certain enjoyment of physical sensation, an appreciation of the patterning, of the rich textures of color, of sight and sound, of sensuality itself. This is my joy as an entity, as a being, as a benevolent guide that seeks to accompany humankind in loving exploration of this shared totality, this omniverse of our reality. Therefore, I, San Pedro, you could call me, I greet you, I bless you, I thank you, and I bid you farewell this day with love. I much appreciated. I much appreciated that personally, and it's always very interesting for me to get this verbal imprint of them. That's of course very difficult from, or different from, the physical storm that can also seem a little overwhelming when you are in it. I think I forgot to ask him about microdosing. We'll do a different video about that where we get some of these different entities to go into it. I think, but I hope you enjoyed the cosmic traveler of San Pedro joining us, and happy trails out there.